Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. Paulina here talking to you about this particular moon. Of course, the moon is just about to come through on the 10th, which is going to be a Capricorn full moon. And she's going to talk to us a lot about what we've done, what we didn't do, how we did or did not deserve or should have, would have, could have done things in the past, and also what may happen in the future because of past mistakes, because of certain paperwork, because of certain things that we didn't really do, or sometimes things that we didn't have to do. So there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of understanding happening during this particular season, as of course I talked a lot about the root system and us having to know ourselves very well to make pure-hearted professional choices, to make respectable choices, to make adult choices, and to be very careful with the coming times. So to me, this particular moon signifies or represents a very dense and a very true human spirit. I feel that it does speak about a certain mode of operation. It does sometimes talk about certain technologies and what is not exquisite anymore. Sometimes we do have to reference and cross-hatch, cross-reference things with when we were young and also when things were true for us. So for certain individuals, it is a familiar approach. It is a family line that they are working with, representing. Sometimes there are other people in the picture. And we have to really take it all with a pinch of salt as we are starting to navigate and understand what we did and did not want to do, during a certain part of our lives, or where we're not meant to be. Sometimes people do think about their education during this time, their family system, and also why they did certain things when they were young. So sometimes the self-esteem is very low, and that's absolutely okay. That's not a negative thing. We just have to be very calm and quiet. And what I believe we should do is just to take care of ourselves and be very nurturing and very kind to ourselves while we're also surfacing certain facts and also certain past results. And as we are looking at results in this very bulky and very stereotypically Capricornian way, we're also starting to learn to define what things are and what they're not. In some cases, people don't want to take anything from their past. This is a theme that we've been working with for the last, I think, couple of months. They don't want to enjoy the same variety of experiences that they have gone through themselves individually or as a family home. They don't want to take these habits or these worldviews any further than what they've already reached. And sometimes it is about things being culled or cut at the root, and sometimes people separate. They just don't want anything to do with their previous mind or their previous jobs or journeys, and that's really fine to see as well. And sometimes certain other types of people may really want to conceive a better thought over the top of what their parents have done. So they do feel passion, pride, or glory for the foundations that they themselves have put in, or their parents have put in. So this is when you understand how far things have come and also how far one may have climbed or evolved in a lifestyle, in a lifetime. And also you understand what is painful and sore, and also what never had to be, what never had to be done, what never had to be bought or sold, where you have wasted time and money, effort or potential, and where you also thought maybe sometimes you lost it all, but you actually found a lot. So this is about these very deep, hearty meanings, whether or not certain things did actually matter or not, whether or not an investment did actually stand as ground or not, whether or not a certain job or a certain course of study did actually pay at the end of the day, and whether or not it is now maybe karmic, shameful, or just something that you are working with. For example, doing a course that took you 5 years to complete, and now understanding or realizing, no, this is not where I'm planting my seeds. This is not what I'm going to take further. And that's really hard. So for certain people in very extreme situations, they may have not only that to handle, but also family patterns and philosophies and family-based identities. And they just like, no, I can't do this. This is crazy. This is mad. And in some cases, there is a question mark of whether or not certain things are worthy or not. Is this job paying you, or is this other job paying you better? is this the type of people you want to be around, or is this the type of people you want to be around? So definitely there is a little bit of buy and sell for certain people. There is a little bit of barter there. And there is a question whether or not it was worthy from the get-go. If your family philosophies or your lifetime have provided you some results, some come-ups, did they actually matter to you in the end? Was it enough or sufficient, significant enough a price to beckon you for many years? Is this the pattern that you really want to also give to your children, which is really important for some people? Is this something that you want to teach? Is it something that also you want to have underground? And also, is there something that you want to limit? So, of course, certain individuals have to understand the true and tried, what is the method, how much does it bring in, what is coming through, what is the kind of money that I'm able to make with this type of venture, is it worth it, how much time and energy do I have to put in? So all of this is very Capricorn. It's very much about investment and installment of certain values and having a certain type of purity and truth. And yes, for sure, it is sometimes also about working with your genetic timeline and understanding what other types of inclinations, dreams, visions, purities, achievements that you want to keep from your ancestry, and what type of stuff you just don't. So, for example, maybe you have a very amazing, miraculous spell in your family to do with drive and education and doing interesting things, but maybe there's also sometimes chaos that comes through at the same time. So this is whether you do not want certain things. So this is, if you can imagine a board, and on this soundboard you have many flexions, which is, you can put the level up or put it down. You can take something underneath, or you can make it really obvious. You can orchestrate things. Sorry, the accent does slip through. Sorry about that. Sometimes, yeah, it's like whether or not you orchestrate things a certain way or not. And also, if you see a certain karma in your life as very worthy of changing or limiting, do you want to still protrude in a certain way? Do you want to still go out there doing the same thing? Do you still want to be out there in the human world, out there in the business world or in the commercial world, making certain details or decisions possible? So for sure, it is about, how you're running your business, whether or not you can or cannot do it any longer. And for some people, that are really keeping it real, keeping it in the heart, it is just whether or not you are interested in living through certain narratives. So for example, I'm constantly, bad at this, or I'm sad at this, or, like with this or that, like I have communication errors in my family, or I feel really hard on myself sometimes, all of this, the buying and selling with yourself, the intimacy of the moment is gone when you can just see it as maths. Like I look at it as maths. I look at it as believable systems that we have somehow created for ourselves. I actually see most of psychology and philosophy as just like a system of numbers, or like a system of achievements and non-achievements. So I'm seeing it as a kind of imaginary system. But I understand that a lot of people don't really like that. So I mean, it's your choice, and I don't want to take it away from you. If you want to go through this very sensitive and emotional time, I understand that in terms of coaching, life coaching, I'm probably not the best, talking about like human emotions and these deep dark feelings. And of course, like in a particular case of snake here, it's not so good to ignore it if it comes up. And also understand that during snake you are working with mania, illusion, and sometimes it's only the illusion of success or the illusion of emotions or feelings that you are actually working with. If you really take care of yourself and your root system, and you have a very healthy and very connected lifestyle, you will not have these questions anymore. So here I am, preaching those formulas that are very, very normal, like having enough water, having lots of sleep, having a peaceful place to be, going out into nature, making sure that your diet is very healthy and very good for you, making sure that your friends and the communities around you spark you up and you feel happy and healthy and not so shy around them, and that you just feel good about yourself. Of course, that is the quintessential, I suppose for me, like the more bulletproof idea of how things work. But I get that some people may actually have a very strange worry or thought that comes from somewhere where they don't even imagine it to be. So people are working with shadow a lot, trawling through shadow actually during this particular time. If they don't want to see things as robust and set, if they don't want to go with certain simple laws and rules and tasks, and if they don't want to communicate with healthy, attractive, and happy-go-lucky people, sometimes people feeling very wrong during this time. This moon can make it near impossible to do certain things in your life. It can be very debilitating, lots of tears, lots of heartache, lots of conversations, lots of questioning can come with this type of time. There could be lots of reasons why this or that is or is not real. So the snake here is going to bring you into this tipsy-turvy kind of a monster time of this year, which is where things are just very difficult to spot. Things are very difficult to understand. Everything is kind of very abstract or out of perspective. Things could be exceptionally confusing during this time. And if you are constantly working with the power of emotions and you're trying to deeply reach yourself or understand who you are, and you're making things really complicated in your process, this is just going to get better as it goes, but this is going to get into some um, really dark times for some people and really extreme complexity. So basically what I've done is I put my life together in such a way where I just know that there are some very simple things that make a body successful firstly and foremostly. What makes a good solid body, being 40 years old this year, I'm feeling pretty good about how my body's regenerating, how it's pumping. Sorry to put it in there, but yeah, like I'm feeling pretty great about my personal physical progress, and I always try to give a little bit of this to my clients or people that see me. It's like it's really important to be aware of your body, to be aware of your physical strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes we do have hereditary issues. Nothing that you can't fix in this lifetime. So, like taking opportunity and responsibility to take over and try to deal with it yourself. For example, you come from a family of diabetes, which is where I'm from. I come from a family of heart disease and diabetes and everything like that. It's just you work this out. You use plants, you use lifestyle, you use your own meter. You try to spice it up. You try to change things up so that you have basically your own ongoing sort of strategy. And of course, there are lots of wake up calls that people can just simply enjoy by themselves. You don't have to have your parents responsible for you when you're like in your 30s or even 20s. They should have let you go and given you, the choice making. Of course, some people can't let go of their parents and their parents can't let go of them. But the thing basically is that you can make better choices. You can make more room for health. You can make more room to thrive. You can make more space to be healthy, happy, and physically adequate or physically eloquent. And also financial health, physical health, what you do not choose, the style of life, the quality of your home, the way that your business runs, everything like that will eventually come through as a part of that. So what I'm basically saying is that if you just take care of the basics and you make sure that you are doing well as a body, like say you're healthy and you're feeling good and you're feeling fresh and your life is going great, that is going to eventually, of course, reflect in everything else in your relationships and your home and the type of things that you choose for your person. If you have very healthy senses, if you are taking care of yourself exceptionally well and you have a good solid root system and you feel good about yourself, then of course a lot of it will eventually start to sparkle. But I understand that some of this is like alien language for some other people and maybe they don't understand where I'm coming from, and that's okay, that's fine. So basically, what I would probably say is really good during this time is to feel proud, solid, and 100% about some things, and not to worry about it that you do. Sometimes we do pick favorites, sometimes we do pick whether or not I want to live in this country or that, whether or not I want to have this lifestyle or that, whether or not I'm going to choose this type of diet or that other diet. So sometimes people have a very strong decision to make, and sometimes it is about rules. It is about rules in Cancer anyway, and Jupiter is pretty close to the sun still, and Venus will eventually approach him later in the coming months. And it is about being rock hard. It is about being solid. And sometimes also it is about being soft. So Cancer is super soft and Capricorn is super solid and super no nonsense. We also have, Uranus, Venus. So, it's not the kindest Venus in the world, also being in just the tip of Gemini there. it's a very, very hard timeline to argue. The better choice I always have for you guys is to have the strongest root system that you can afford. The strongest body or the most well kept body that you can possibly handle, that you can possibly do. And then eventually all of it that is on the outside, all the politics, all the emotions, all the fancy words, all the fancy lifestyle ideas, everything that is outside of the natural norm may not be needed. So also this is the thing, this is a strategy only for some people, and I know that maybe it is not available for some others. We can sometimes have some really outlandish ideas in relationships in our heads. Like sometimes we have these emotions that don't make any sense. Sometimes we have certain relationships that do not stand a chance, but we still keep on going. Sometimes we have very distant and weird thoughts and ideas about like God. Like this is really happening for some people, their idea of God and what is happening in the world or how life is and how things work. They can be sometimes really skewed or out there, and they could be lacking perspective. And sometimes like the worst case possible is that it could be very unhealthy for us sometimes, what we are sort of willing to do or willing to be a part of. So basically what I've done for the last several years, or 7 years actually, is make it very sure, very clear what is and what isn't. Like where you live, where you go, how you dress, what is and what isn't. So it is about the tangible. And the lucky people, I feel, are the ones that already have a really freaking good network of friends and a really nice, solid network of elders or root system or a body of people that they're from. And they know anything and everything will always find its way. Everything is good, like it's all possible, and everything is nice and solid and tangible. This is what we're going for. If you are very real as a person, you come from a really good system of people, you have really good roots and good family trees surround you as well, you will know, you'll understand, and it all will somehow mellow out, and even the hardest questions and the weirdest feelings are going to mellow out and eventually find their space or the place to be. And for certain other people, no matter how much you work, how much money you save, how much stuff you do in your life, it kind of gets eroded. So this is also the question, is like, how come no matter what you do, everything works out for some people? Yeah. And then somehow for other people, no matter how much you do, how much energy, time, pressure, or power you apply, it won't. It won't heal you, it won't do anything. It keeps on landing on rocks. It's kind of like a sandcastle that keeps on getting eroded by the sea. So sometimes people's efforts are gone within moments, within minutes, because of their bills, because of their fighting, because of their philosophy, because of how much also sometimes anger or frustration they hold within themselves. It just keeps on getting eroded. And also sometimes people's roots are intermingled with other families and family systems that are very emotional or angry, or maybe there is a lot of very high-rise emotional behavior. Could also be borderline unhealthy or very unhealthy for some people. So for example, if you're a very clean, very great person, and everything's fine, and you come from a very good family tree or network, which is actually probably like quite a large amount of people that I see for readings. Like a third of my clients are like this, like really born originally naturally in a really good organic system with good solid bones, really good solid bodies, and they have it all, kind of, you think. But then they go out, wish creating, and of course there's media, there's other people, there's high school and university and everything that has made them more liberal, quote unquote, or made them more intuitive, quote unquote, or made them more curious about things. And sometimes things get in. It's like, oh yeah, why not try drugs and alcohol? Like, why not like take time with this particular type of person? Why not go to this party? And sometimes, not for everybody, but some of your original talents or some of your original naturalness or your original fidelity, even muscle bone fidelity, gets lost along the way through participation in some things that we don't really eventually feel lucky about. So of course there are certain diseases as well. As I talked about, hereditary diseases, for example. But then also, for instance, there could be mental or emotional diseases that could be found, or that could be kind of contracted during a course where you think, oh yeah, everything goes and life's a party. So when you had, like, for example, really good financial, physical, root system developments before, it is also easy to be lost. So whether or not you like it, I feel that some of this is about whether or not you have a solid, strong, and undoubtful psyche, or whether or not you kind of like willy-nilly and you're just letting anything in. You're just letting anybody into your life, or you've let somebody into your life that you shouldn't have let into your life, which is the story of many people, this cause and effect of trying to get back to the roots. So how to work with trauma, how to work with drama during this time. I already talked a lot about this during my Patreon audios. You have to get back into the root system, and you need to still feel light and happy. So it's not about feeling really dense and like all packed in there, like, yeah, I'll never let go. It's just about getting back into your root system and feeling that root system comfortably. It is sometimes about revisiting the family home. It is sometimes, having compassion for your elders. Sometimes it is about going to a church for some people, or a mosque, or anything like that. Some of the time, it is just more about learning how to stabilize. And then from this nice natural community, from this nice healthy way that you are dealing with your life day to day, you find a really nice, simple silhouette of where you were meant to be in the first place. So I'm feeling that it's not for everybody, but for a lot of people, like the epic change that you're looking for, or the shifts that could be going on through this time. And I'm seeing people really risking it, like jumping overboard, trying to do different things. It's like fleas jumping from dogs to dog, from dog to dog. It's not a very healthy, and it's not a very simplified timeline for some people. But the minute that you understand that you are where you're meant to be, when you realize what type of people or tribes that are open and natural for you, when you understand where there is a natural psyche development, where you understand where things have been going on also for a long time, maybe good or bad, when you realize how to work with these different puzzle pieces in your life. And this is infinite. Like, this is not just done over a day. Like, okay, let's go trouble tasking, let's go trying to master this like over 1 or 2 days. This could actually be going on over a lifetime, is recognizing, human needs, human soul, human spirit, whether or not, say, your father or mother prepared you, for the person that you are today, whether or not you did or did not, have enough love, or whether or not you received a lot of burdens as a child. I mean, these are like really big psychological questions. But the main thing that I'm sort of working with at the moment is I'm understanding that sometimes you are looking at quite a giant piece of question, quite a giant question mark sometimes, whether it is not your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health, or whether it is, or it is not a giant financial, or um, like a physical question, or a job related question, or housing related question. These are questions. The main thing that I now know, that I think I should have applied ages ago, is that you just need to be fine about things as they are. Yes, there is a lot of life lived for some people. There's a lot of hysteria. There are a lot of things that we have done or been a part of that we're not necessarily happy about. And it's just about like packaging it all together with an amen. Sometimes for some people, it's like, okay, like for some people it is faith, it is God, or it is like an actual body of people or entity of people, like a group of people that helps them feel the worth through some kind of like circulation, through some kind of faith, some kind of trust. And for someone else, maybe you'll see that it is all just about like the limit of things as they are. Like, you're sitting there, and sure, like the sky's the limit. If you start thinking about life, you start thinking about politics, or the world, or the wars, or your body, like, wow, like, oh my God, like it's just unlimited, like what you can think about, or what your mind may bring in, which is very juicy sometimes for some people, and it's very soon to get messy. So if you are a natural philosopher and you really like to go out there and think about things, you'll be there till the cows come home. But what I find is very, very significant and solid, if you got the guts to do it, if you got the, how they say, the balls to do it, is if you sit down in one place and you just like self-affirm, and you know that you are here, and the fact that you are here is amazing. So, the fact that you're here is already miracle enough. The fact that, things are going on how they're going on. And then eventually, yeah, for some people it's as simple as cleaning their house. I'm serious. For some people, it is as simple as organizing their friends. Sure, for some people. For some people, it is about, understanding how to work with social media. Sure, some people are there. Some people, it's just like, okay, cool. So you're here in the room and you got a yoga mat out. So why not just do some yoga, just a little bit, or, all right, so I'm sitting here in the room. Well, what can I do? I can pour myself a cup of tea and just fill up space, and this is just like learning about how to respect yourself, and the physical given, So this is a lot to do with respect and respect of your nervous system, not pushing yourself or other people overboard, which is what a lot of people may try to do in Cancer anyway. So like fighting and trying to achieve beyond what is normal and stable for anybody in the picture, and also trying to point at something like, he should have said that, no, she should have done that. So the best idea is just to respect yourself and one another. Zen practice, like Buddhist Zen practice, is probably one of the better choices. I keep on coming back to this one because this has been a more poignant and more like energetically profitable exercise. Like say when you're just like sitting there alone and you're paying attention to everything, you're paying attention to how you sit, your breath, your environment, and sometimes it'll come across, okay, I should really like wash those dishes now. I should really, go outside and maybe see the light of day. It's summer out there, so I may as well sit out on the grass and, get some vitamin D and enjoy my day. So, like, sometimes these simple reasons why this is this and this is that, like tangible, physical, simple reasons, are more important than going out soul searching. Also, the other thing, in terms of soul hunting, soul searching, trying to find the pieces that you never found before. Some of the time, yes, we are very grateful for these pieces. If you are a very good alchemizer, if you're a really good philosopher or understander, Snake will give you several reasons why things are like this or like that. But this is not for everybody. This is big daddy business, meaning, or big mommy business. This is like where we're looking at like the philosophy of the corporate world, for example, or the philosophy of religion or spirituality, or we're looking at the philosophy of your timeline. This is very tricky. Like if you are like to open your body and navigate it, if you are to open your life and navigate it, this is like high shamanic electromagnetic stuff. If people are really willing to now, explore their soul and, go out there looking for pieces for themselves. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying that some people are just not naturally good at it, even though they're very curious and they could actually get lost. So if you are like, I'm sorry, like also coming from experience, like if you are like, say, meeting creator, meeting like the full cause and effect of life, and you have to like look at life and death, and you're looking at life really holistically, you're understanding the shadow and the light of all things. This could actually drive you kind of insane, and this could actually make you really like inappropriate for yourself and other people. So I've also met probably most of the spirit, like not everybody, but most spiritual seekers that I've met through my channel have a nervous system disorder because they have planned to go out there exploring and doing things that they believe that only they could do, or practicing certain shamanic arts, or doing some things that are very far-fetched or sometimes very actually uneconomical for you, but you may believe or you may dream that this is part of your quest. And yes, of course, here's where we basically have to close. I have so much time that I've also spent trying to crack certain things, and I just won't. So sometimes here's when we have to, see a spiritual leader, shaman, doctor, or professional psychiatrist. Sometimes that is all that you need. And for certain other people, yeah, they're exceptionally evolved. And whether it is through painting or through chanting or through prayer or through physical work, internal or external world, because Snake does like a complete master by now. Snake wants to see the complete guru. Snake wants to see the total master of whatever it is that you have mastered in your life. So she doesn't necessarily like you being just like, oh, hey, I'm just kind of like gonna try some astral projection, or I'm gonna try some medicine. She will only give it to you if you've actually got it in your guts, in your blood, or sometimes even in your DNA, or inside the very soul of you to do something. So some of the time, yeah, during this time, you'll see a very high evolutionary jump for a human being. And sometimes it's because they've been preparing themselves for several lives. And we're not all there, so it's like, it's not just like, oh, let me try that, so just make sure that for some things, yeah, definitely you need to be kind of a genius to do it, and you've got to be really rock hard, you've got to be really self-associative to do certain things. And for some people you can't, like today, trying to push or thrust forward to be something or somebody that you cannot be. I want to also be gentle with you because I understand my words can be harsh. So you have to credit yourself appropriately and proportionally. So this is what I can do. This is what I can't do. This is the realm that I'm working with. This is a realm that I'm not capable of working with, or I'm not working with anymore. So this is when you basically have to understand where you have to start things again, where you have to stop process or progress, and when you have to sometimes go backwards to go back to something that you've done before. So basically, like, I'm learning through all this, I'm also understanding only just a fraction maybe of what is happening in the world. The why we do this, why we don't want to like look at the whole thing and undress life and pull it apart and look at the, at all the bits and pieces, is simply because it's a little bit too much. So I'll also say that snake, it's not necessarily about keeping surface. It's just about sometimes things being underneath that you would never actually be able to tangibly understand. Things that are going on that are way beyond sometimes the human mind, the human psyche. So what I would basically do here is keep on going with the simple things. And there's a Chinese proverb, what do you do before enlightenment? Cart wood, carry water. And what do you do after enlightenment? Cart wood, carry water. So basically, you're not stopping your progress. You're still addressing your body, trying to be in your body, trying to feel grounded and solid as you're going through whatever you're going through, so that you don't lose it. So you don't lose the many things that could be easily lost or stolen from you during a snake year, because this is also part of its system. It is a lying year. And sometimes it is the year that is most unachieved and has the lowest qualities, because it doesn't understand how to get out of all of this, because we are looking at a very, very, very deep container of changes. And sometimes the container is not just that, it's just like things that have been a mess for a long time, or things that were ill or strange or weird or non-resolved, unresolved. And basically what Snake does as the master healer, the master therapist, or the master professional, she tries to help us evolve. But we're not all meant to be 100% awake and aware. It's like, oh my God, did you see the aliens in the sky? Oh my God, did you see this? Did you see that? Because you won't be able to function in your physical body if you know everything. Sometimes also, yeah, just as a side note, there's a price to pay. Sometimes if you look at some of the greatest shamans, healers, and such, they have health disorders and like personality disorders and such, and many of them can't control themselves. They can't control their brains. So what I'm basically saying is, like, don't fight, like, don't trust the urge to become number one right now. Try not to trust that. Try to just go through what you're going to go through. And the best thing is to be niche within your own natural network of people, network of friends, family members, natural karmas. So you're not drinking karma from other people, you're not becoming something else or somebody else during this process. So natural forgiveness is needed for some people, and natural neutral relaxation, or a formula that would just like make you feel very nice and kind, sweet and simple, so that you're not betraying yourself. So you're not betraying your genes, you're not betraying your body, your self-fidelity, you're not betraying your brain, you're not changing things too fast, so fast that you might not be able to handle the changes that you yourself are bringing up. And then you are keeping within meter and within reason. So what I'm basically saying is, everybody has to be in their own place, their own network of people, their own slide of reality, their own shamanic dream time in some cases, their own relationship with themselves, their own neutral, and their own understanding of themselves and their future. So sometimes it's not necessarily about segregation, but it's just about knowing that you have to go through your own things, and sometimes it is about perfection of your own body, or your perfection of your house, or your culture, your esteem, whatever you're working in, whatever is your interest, and then eventually starting to show where things are and are not going to be. So you are your own delegatory body, your own system, and you are protecting yourself from overflow, like knowing too much, or suddenly like having so much money you can't handle it, or suddenly having so many friends you don't know which way to go. So it's not about burnout. It's not about overflowing energy. It's not about something fantastical, which is not what a lot of people can handle or kind of marry into. But yeah, there is also a root system and a soul of the greater cosmos and of the people that you're from and that you naturally interact with. So that is the base, well, that's the meat of, what keeps you in mind, or what keeps you in the psyche, or what keeps you in character. But yet again, there are also those people that don't want to be a part of anything, simply because they know the worth of independence. And as one of those people, I'll tell you what it is like for me. So if you know that you really want to work out your own system, and you're working with an alternative, and maybe sometimes a scary system for other people, or there are thoughts and feelings and visions that visit you that other people do not know about, or they don't understand, sometimes it is good to get some help. And sometimes it is like, you don't have to dominate anything or anybody. So there's also like a question of dominance, dominating over your body, dominating over your money, dominating over your self-esteem, dominating. And sometimes some people can actually get a lot by doing their own thing on the down low. So this is like secret methods, secret messages, secret societies, a secret income, or just like a secretive way of doing something that other people won't. But there are only a few people that are within reason and within proportion in that field. So, for example, if your family's been in banking, like for several generations, for you, it's no problem because you've been inside the system for such a long time. For instance, if you are like, say, okay, from a family of example, like women that have sold their bodies, you're doing the OnlyFans, it doesn't matter because it's already inside the body of the people that you're from. Okay, there are certain people that can go through a lot also doing this. So I'm saying, like, for example, working in very niche fields and strategies, working with science, also working with radiation, for example, working with secrets. Working in a secretive community, or working at a secret job, everything like that, where you are trying to empower yourself through something that you know that nobody else knows, occult sciences as well. I'm just saying be careful with that. And not all of us can handle the trickster within. Not everybody's made to work in a mafia organization. Not every person is meant to work for the government as well. What's the difference? I don't know. Anyway, let's take that out of the video. Not everybody's made for it. Like not everybody's made to go to war. Like not everybody's made to like work with drugs and medicine. Not every person is solid, good enough, or focused enough in themselves to go through certain things. Radiation being also one of those things. Not everybody's body can survive a certain experience. Also, like for example, underwater experiences, like being underwater, or like deciding that you're Christ one day or something like that. So basically, what I'm saying is that don't worry if you're kind of losing it, and if you are also caught up in perspectives, like part of you feels really whole and very strong, very solid, and another part feels very messy or feels unnatural or unusual, because everything will end and come to a certain type of neutral cycle by the time that August hits. So thank you very much. Enjoy, and I hope that some of this gave you some good insights, and if, it, if not, then not. I hope that you enjoy your day. Thank you, and have a look at my Patreon. I'll see you next time.